A bit. Still sitting on one conference win. These two teams met back on January the 14th, and it was Georgia coming from behind and defeating the Rebels in Oxford 62-58. Oquendo had a huge second half for Georgia in the victory. Ole Miss and the powder blue unis. Georgia and white were underway here in Athens.
Look for Ole Miss to try to get something in the paint going towards the rim as soon as they possibly can.
Nice ball movement, sets up an open three for the freshman Abram. He can't find it. Ole Miss has struggled this year shooting from behind the arc at 30%. And as you see the left-handed hook shot rim off, that's Braylon Bridges now in his 5th year.
Bridges is a really good post player, great footwork, can score over either shoulder. Be interesting to see if he can get it going tonight and if Ole Miss starts to bring the double if he does.
Allen, no double for him, and he tries a hook shot of his own. So the lid's still on both baskets as we're nearly a minute into the action. This is Moncrief on the attack. Kept the pivot foot. Back up top into the hands of Justin Hill. Hill, a transfer from Longwood. They made the NCAA tournament a year ago. Inside, Bridges sneaks it in. Braylon Bridges.
I just think with the absence of Roberts tonight, Bridges is a very capable scorer. Hadn't had the type of year that he's wanted, but I think they're going to really try to go at him and get some points for this Georgia team early on.
Mike White reinforced that thought with us earlier today. He said it's in there. He's just got to keep his juice, keep his energy level, stay aggressive. Morrell aggressive, but wild shot misses the rim, and here comes Georgia quickly on the attack. Taking it to the basket, looking for a foul was Holt. Can't get the whistle, and Morrell clears it for the Rebels. And now a whistle all the way in the back court, blown by Don Daly, as hobbling is Jamin Brakefield. I mean, Kermit Davis has got to be saying, come on now. If he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all this year.
I mean, Brakefield is a guy that's when he's getting it and playing hard and really being aggressive offensively, he can shoot from the three. He can get inside on the drive and pull up. He can post up. He's a good free throw shooter. I mean, he's a matchup nightmare for a big because he is 6'8", and he can run the floor.
Right.
And he's a guy that they really need to reach their optimum level offensively.
McKinnis will check in for him. 0-0, just set the screen up top. Rise and fire three from the wing. Back iron, and a nice job following his own shot by Miles Burns. Another open look, and this time it's buried by Burns. How about that? He missed a shot, got his rebound, then hit a three.
Yeah, very confident stroke there for a guy who doesn't shoot it percentage-wise that good in the SEC.
Transfer from Loyola, New Orleans, where they won the NAIA National Championship. Now for Ole Miss, as I mentioned, they have not been able to catch a break. And the latest, of course, bit of news is that there's no more Deshaun Ruffin the rest of the year. He has stepped aside for at least the rest of this season. And Kermit Davis, who is the SEC Coach of the Year in year one. They've had a tough schedule. They've had 13 different starting lineups. They have battled injuries. They have lost close games. All the recipes, Joe, for a team that has just struggled to win.
But they just haven't been able, as you touched on, find an identity, because when guys are coming in and out and in and out and in and out, it's hard to define roles and get a feel for what you got.
They compete in every game. Kermit Davis will tell you it's a good group of young men. They have not lost their will to fight. Sometimes you'll see a team just completely kind of tank down the stretch when they're going through this type of year. Georgia knows a thing or two about that last year, as nothing was going very well for Georgia in a season that seemed like it was less than inspirational, hence the coaching change. Enter Mike White, who was a longtime coach at Florida, Louisiana Tech before that. Mike White has been terrific in this building. Georgia is 11-1 here at Stegman, and Mike White, going back to his days at La Tech and Florida, 18-2 overall as a head coach at Stegman Coliseum.
See why they hired him.
Yes, pretty good strategy. That was the surprise move, when we were all following the SEC tournament last year. On that Sunday, the news came down, and I don't think anybody saw it coming. They did a great job of keeping it under wraps. And Mike White telling us today, I always loved Athens. This has always been a town on my radar. It reminds me a little bit of Oxford, where I played. Always thought it'd be a great place to bring his family, and he couldn't have been happier to make the move to Athens, Georgia, become the next head coach of the Bulldogs. And he still believes this is a sleeping giant program.
Well, as he also said, they're winning in every other sport. Why can't it be
basketball? A lot of people have asked that question around here over the years. There's an open three, knocked down, make it 2. Foot was on the line for Robert Allen, a 21.5-foot two-point goal.
And like so many teams in the SEC, if you can knock down and shoot a decent percentage from the three, it makes things so much easier on the other end of the floor.
Well, that time, great defense swarming by Ole Miss as they bottled up Bridges. Drive and take, and a whistle. And a trip to the free throw line for Miles Burns, who's been uber aggressive here in this first stanza.
Boy, he's come out of the blocks really running and going hard on both ends of the floor. And that's kind of his MO, is that they talked about in NAI being a 4-time All-American at the NAI level. He's got a tremendous motor, especially rebounding, running the floor. But early on, we've seen him be very aggressive and very impressive offensively.
Foul was on Abdur-Rahim. Burns coming off that performance at Vanderbilt, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He was the best player in that game. He's 3rd in the league in steals. He's 10th in the league in rebounds. And this is going to be a story for this game, Joe. When you look at trips to the line, Ole Miss does not get there often. Just 15 free throw attempts a game. Georgia, meanwhile, very aggressive, attacking the rim. They're number 1 with 23 free throws.
Well, it was the story in Oxford. I mean, they got to the line 8 times, Ole Miss did, made 5. Georgia got there 24 times, made 15. 10 points, really big difference there.
Again, swarming defense by Ole Miss, a double team. Baseline jumper is true. The mid-range jumper hit by Abdur-Rahim. Jabri Abdur-Rahim, whose father, of course, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, longtime pro, and played his college ball at Cal.
Moncrief being tough with the ball there with the double team, and Rahim keeps moving, and they find him. Nice looking J on the baseline.
Pull-up jumper. Speaking of nice-looking Jays, Miles Burns. What has gotten into Miles Burns tonight? 6 points already for Burns.
That's his season average in the SEC.
Yes.
And you see Ole Miss changing defenses. They talked about it. Both teams talked about it before the game, and that they thought they might go zone, a little pressure. They're going to show trap in the middle ball screen, but you can't leave that guy wide open under the basket.
Quarantine on the back line, Braylon Bridges.
It's just lack of focus there. You had him dead to rights at the half court with a good trap. If you're the back man, you're basically playing a zone. You're looking and protecting the basket.
Tie ball game. And a huge rejection at the apex that time by Matthew Alexander Moncrief. Morrell looked like he had a stuff.
Morrell came hard. Moncrief said, not tonight.
Moncrief then trying to do it on the other end, but he's blocked by Burns. Like the frenetic pace to this game early going.
A lot of energy.
Yeah.
Both teams coming out hard.
That's a heat check shot by Abram. Long rebound to Morrell. He can't find it.
And this is what Ole Miss has got to stay away from. This is why they don't go to the free throw line. I mean, those shots, Mike, are going to be there 10, 15 seconds later in the shot clock. Don't settle so early.
Yeah, the word settle has come to mind too often this year for Ole Miss.
I like to call that taking the bait.
Taking the bait. 7 on the shot clock. Great ball movement. Sets up an open 3 for Georgia. Too strong. Tapped around. And corralled by Ole Miss and Abram. Burns. Burns has already fired up 4 shots here in this.
Again, those are not, I mean, Ole Miss is shooting 30% from the three-point line in the SEC play. those are not good shots. Early in the clock, raising up on the break, not good shots.
That is a good shot. A paint touch for Bridges.
Lead.
Yeah, you mentioned that usage rate. He averages just under 31 minutes a game, so that's a lot to replace, even for a rather deep team like Georgia is, as Bridges completes the three-point play. Bridges has been a force already where you would like to see him, Joe Klein, in the paint, all 3 field goals in the lane.
I just remember him last year, and early on, you're first of all going, you know, why was he at Illinois Chicago?
Right.
I mean, because he just had a Power 5 body, had footwork, left, right hand finish. He's got to put it all together and be more consistent for 40 minutes.
That's just an unforced error on Ole Miss. First turnover on the Rebels.
Now, to me, that's on Morrell. He's got to make himself available to that guy. He's too high up on the floor. If he sees that trap coming on the baseline, he's got to get down towards the baseline so it's an easier outlet pass.
Bulldogs up by 3. A little more than 7 minutes into the action here in Athens.
Very aggressive on that middle ball screen that Georgia's trying to do. They are really jumping it and trapping it. I love that. I mean, I love guys getting out on the trap, being aggressive. Not a big fan of the old drop coverage. I think if you just let a point guard come off there clean, even doesn't have to be a great point guard.
Right.
To be an average point guard, he's going to figure you out and start making passes, dropping dimes, and making shots.
All right, Ole Miss has already fired up 7 threes. I know you don't like that. What do you want to see more
They're
of?
not a three-point shooting team.
Right.
They don't shoot. I mean, if that's your MO, absolutely. I want to see some more of this. Go inside first, attack, and get a little bit of that. Get guys slashing, cutting, try to get that defense sucked in, and now your threes are going to be easier, more open, and in rhythm.
I tell you who would love to see more of that tonight is number 14 in blue, Ty Fagan, who just got that bucket. That's over and back. That is over and back, and that's forced by Ty Fagan with his hounding defense. Fagan, of course, the former Georgia Bulldog. He scored 20 points in this building last year in his inaugural return to Athens.
And here you're seeing kind of the effects of Roberts not being in there. Hill's got to get a break. You have McBride at the point guard. He's capable.
Yep.
But that's not what he can do.
Capable is never an overly encouraging word. I've heard that much of my life, Joe. He's got a lot of potential, that guy. 3 from the corner, knocked down. That is Jamin Brakefield.
I like him. I mean, again, he's kind of like Bridges is for Georgia. They need to get more out of him. I mean, he's a guy that's a matchup problem, got good size, good athleticism. You got to get more from him.
Little floater off the mark for the Bulldogs. Rebels on the attack, full throttle. It's Caldwell, athletic freshman guard, part of the ESPN Top 100. Fagan passed up the 3. Inside, paint touch for Ole Miss, and a beautiful side-winding move by Robert Allen.
You are what you are, Mike.
Yep.
And this is a team that's got to play inside out. They got to grind you defensively. And if they start making shots, that's icing on the cake.
Largest lead for the Rebels of 4 points now. Alley-oop, tough pass to reel in traffic. Anselm got it. They work it around the perimeter. Ingram on a 3, rattles that one home. Jalen Ingram in his 7th year, one of the oldest players in college basketball.
How many?
7th year out of Madison, Georgia. You only got to play 4, right?
It took me 5 to play 4. I
Back
would have
then,
stayed 7 if they would have let me. I was having a ball.
Hey, I think we all can look back and say maybe we should have stayed a few more years if we knew what we knew now. That's Brakefield on another bucket for Ole Miss. Back in your day, you had to sit out a year when you transferred. Not anymore with the portal.
Yep.
Boy, these coaches, what they're going through now with the no penalty on a transfer and NIL. I mean, it is a full-time, 365-day-a-year job. And it's not always the makings of a tournament team.
Oh, I do too, and tis the season, Mike. I mean, here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, who's in, who's out. People are feeling slighted, and how can they be in front of this team, and so on and so forth. But again, it all comes down to the numbers and the teams who played, and You know, you have a number of SEC teams right there and some interesting schedules that these teams are going to be facing down the stretch.
Well, and you did some great work behind the scenes before we went on air today, and I would just say the unofficial Joe Klein strength of schedule index the rest of the way. A&M's got one of the most difficult after Auburn. You see Fagan throwing to nobody in particular. They still have Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Mizzou, at Mississippi State. A lot of difficult games left on that schedule for the Aggies.
Yeah, that bracket, as we can tell by our email, we get one daily, but it can change as quickly as anything. I mean, you can go from out to in to seeded to not seeded quicker than anything.
Oquendo takes it strong, just muscles his way in. That's the X factor in almost every Georgia game now is Oquendo, because when he's on, he's one of the most explosive players in the league. Great backdoor action that time for Abram. But Oquendo also at times, as Mike White would tell us, his confidence can get down, his energy level can get down.
Well, he's a mismatch. I mean, he's just strong and powerful. Not a great shooter, but he's good enough. But his ability to get to the rim and finish is great.
Good looking shot there by Jalen Ingram. He came into this game 17 points shy of 1,500 career points. The Rebs trying another three. And another less than great result. Ole Miss now 2 for 9 from behind the arc.
And again, I mean, Robert Allen's going to get that shot
anytime he wants.
Anytime he wants.
But
and I mean, it's just...
Here's the thing about it, Joe, I think that's got to drive Kermit crazy. It's not as if Ole Miss isn't athletic. Like, they have guys that can get to the rim. So why not do it more?
Well, and what they got to realize, as you know, Kermit certainly knows, everybody knows, is that the more you start taking it to somebody at the basket, the bigger the floor gets from a perimeter standpoint. So if I'm a guard and I can throw it in there or drive it in there, eventually it's going to make life so much easier on the perimeter for me.
You get more open, better looks. You stress the defense more.
Somebody's running at you on defense instead of sitting down in the stance. It's so much easier to get by somebody when they're flying at you. I mean, everything is better.
First free throw is a miss for Bridges. Bridges coming in 78% on the year at the free throw line. Morrell checks back in for the Rebels.
Now, Ole Miss shooting 40% from the three as a team, we wouldn't be saying that.
Right. Well, hey, look.
You are what you are.
Absolutely. And what they are is last place in three-point percentage. 10 points to lead all scorers now for Bridges. The lead is 2 for Georgia. Another three.
Boy, that kid right there, Caldwell, he is an athletic specimen and can really, if anybody should be driving, it should be him.
Yeah. Certainly has the ability to do so. So does Matthew Morrell. Only averages about 3 free throw attempts per conference game. Morrell tried to thread the needle down low, can't do it. Quick hands by Holt of Georgia, the former Alabama Crimson Tide. And immediate timeout with 7:47 to go. Georgia 21, Ole Miss 19 here in Athens. Before Rupp Arena was constructed, and who knew this? I didn't know, certainly, that Kermit Davis Sr. actually was good friends with Adolph Rupp. Those two got to know each other quite well, had a great deal of respect for one another, and so when Kermit Jr. talks about Adolph Rupp, there's a lot of reverence there as well. Just some interesting connections, and those are the kind of conversations that you just live for. You and I just talking ball with Kermit Davis last night for about an hour.
Yeah, it was awesome. And that documentary, I've got to see one episode of it, and it is worth the watch.
Very well done.
Really, really well done. There you go, young fella.
Strong take inside, and there's a trip to the free throw line. That's how you do it, Joe Klein.
Absolutely, and that's your strength, man. You got some length, you got some strength, you got some athleticism. Man, use it. Don't settle. Don't take the bait. And look what happens. This is a team, as we touched on earlier, that struggles to get to the free throw line. Well, when you get in there, you cause situations of help and rotation and all this. Now you get back to the free throw line where you can get your team settled down and get them focused and get them back in the game.
McInnes, the transfer from Jackson State, rattles home the first free throw.
And it helps a guy like McInnes. He gets a touch.
Yeah.
He gets a point-blank shot. He gets to the free throw line. It's going to settle him down. It's going to help him play more confident because he's going to be feeling good about himself.
I've never seen something bad come out of a paint touch, right?
Amen.
I mean, even if you don't have the shot, like you said, you can always kick it out. Defense collapses.
Right. I mean, and everything's predicated on what you are as a team. And so when you're struggling from the perimeter, you want to try to get better shots. And sometimes better shots come from getting it into the paint and then kicking it out for that perimeter shot.
Skip pass into the corner, take to the rim by Oquendo. He can't get it to drop, and now here come the Rebels. Secondary break, inside, pivot, kick, break field. Goes backward, then forward, and then an and one.
And again, McInnes in the lane. They give it to him on the break as a trailer. Nice job by him to put the ball on the deck and pivot and find Breakfield. Now Breakfield's playing with a guy running at him. Look how much easier it is to get by him. And now look where we are, at a place where Ole Miss has struggled to get to the free throw line. Good job by Ole Miss.
It's a heck of a finish by Breakfield. He's hanging, and Georgia defender all over him. Still hits the shot with the foul. And Ole Miss can retake the lead here. 23-23, 7 minutes to go first half. Again, Ole Miss losing the first meeting at home against Georgia, 62-58. That was in mid-January. They'll stay stuck at 23 all. Justin Hill directing traffic. Again, if you're just joining us, no Terry Roberts today. Still in concussion protocol. They hope to have him back for a matchup Saturday against Kentucky. That's already been labeled a sellout here in Athens.
I'm watching Kermit, and the whole bench, when McBride got the ball, was yelling right hand, and the young fella Abrams didn't get up on that right hand, and it turned into a foul. But it was funny to me. It wasn't funny to Kermit.
I don't think Kermit's laughing. Kermit hasn't been doing a whole lot of laughing this year. 16 fouls on Ole Miss. Shot clock at 8. Oquendo wheeling, dealing, beautiful move.
I mean, he is just a bully with that ball. I mean, he's coming downhill, and he's going to put those big, broad shoulders on you and tell you to get out of the way. If there's no help, it's going to be hard for them to keep him from getting to the rack.
Burns to Abram. Down low, pass a little bit too high for Breakfield. Fourth turnover on the Rebels. Oquendo thought about it, now pulls the trigger and hits a three. Timeout, Ole Miss.
And score until 5 minutes left in the game. Ends up getting the last 12 points and basically winning the game for him. So, I mean, you see that and you're like, man, dude, you just gave me 8 really good minutes.
Right.
Can I get 28?
Yeah. Let's extrapolate that over the course of the game. He also had all 8 points in overtime in the victory against South Carolina, so he's been clutch. Sometimes just takes a little bit of time to get that motor running. Fagan kind of got lost with the basketball while in the air and threw it to nobody in particular, but he'll get a bit of a break here. It's off of Georgia.
I like the way Kermit's had to call a couple timeouts and kind of get the focus of his team. But you can see they're working the ball better in the half court. They're attacking better. They seem more settled in the half court right now.
Fagan.
Wow. Went up and got that one.
Did he ever? Baseline jumper, no. Allen active on the offensive glass. Here's Morrell on a three. There's Matthew Morrell. Matthew Morrell with his first basket.
How many times do you see it, Mike? Offensive rebound, step in, rhythm three.
They thought, Ole Miss did, that they were going to be one of the better offensive rebounding teams this year. Kirby got a lot of key transfers. Kermit, excuse me. We are in Athens, so Kirby pretty known for another sport. But they thought they were going to be one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the league with a number of key transfers, but they just haven't panned out.
Yeah, they just, again, they get it in spots. Somebody will show a glimpse and another guy will show a glimpse, but there's no consistency.
Allen, no, there's an offensive rebound. Was that a one-hand catch and stick back by Brakefield?
Yes,
that was pretty impressive.
Yes,
we'll have to rack and roll that one again. Back to a tie ball game, 28-all, under 5 minutes to play. And that one squirts out of bounds, a turnover to Ole Miss.
Now you're seeing the lack of having Roberts. The pressure's being turned up, as Ole Miss is always great with their pressure, but they're double teaming the post. They're double teaming a lot of the pick and rolls. They're getting up with the ball handler, and they're causing some problems, getting deflections. But here's that drive. Looky here.
Oh, okay.
That's nice.
Who needs your guide hand? Just catch it with your shooting hand, throw it right back up.
So calm.
Yeah.
It's like
unfazed. Fagan takes it strong. Missed it. Tapped up. No. And the rebound cradled by McBride. McBride. Crossover. Cut off by Fagan. Abdur Rahim wanted to launch a three, but there to meet him on the catch was Brakefield.
Really like how Fagan's come into this game as a veteran, and he's kind of settled him down offensively. Been very strong defensively as well. Shot
clock at 5 to 3 off the side of the backboard, and that'll be Ole Miss basketball when we come back. 3:37 to go first half. All knotted up, 28-all.
We don't expect them to shoot 30, but they were at 2 with 6.5 minutes to go in this first half, and they've been a little more aggressive here the last 3 or 4 minutes, and it's helped them get this game all tied up.
Well, they were on pace to shoot about 43s, and that's just not their strength as a team this year. Last in three-point percentage at 30. Burrell finds an open shooter that time. That's Burns in and out, but a foul on Georgia going for the rebound on the box out. That's Anselm on the foul.
And, Mike, I don't want to come across as this anti-guard, anti-shoot thing. I know Pat Bradley's back in the studio loading up the gun to shoot me down, but, that was a good look. It was in rhythm. It was in the offense. I have no problem with that, but, again, you got to play to your strength and who you are.
If you know Pat Bradley as well as I do, Pat wants his big men not taking threes because that's more threes that he can take when you rebound it, kick it out to him.
He doesn't want the big men ever looking at him in a half-court situation.
Never.
Because that means they're not setting screens.
That's right. The shooter wants to let the guards eat.
When you put your hand up for a post feed, he thinks you're waving at him.
Yeah, right. Under 3 minutes to go, first half. Strong take with the left, rimming out. Tough break that time for Ingram.
Got a good shot for not really having any ball movement.
Oh, great slam attempt off a beautiful feed from Burrell. And Miles Burns will go to the free throw line. Miles Burns, I don't know what he had for breakfast today, but serve up some more.
Well, and I tell you, this is why we want him going to the rack. Because that was almost a da-da-da, but this guy's got some crazy athletic ability, and strong. He's a problem. He's like a bigger version when he wants to be of Oquendo. A taller version, I'll say. A taller version.
Yeah, 6'6", 210-pound senior out of Houston. Transfer from Loyola of New Orleans. He was a 4-time NAIA All-American, the national title MVP. Now, you never know how that's going to translate, right? That's a lower level of basketball. It's not even Division I where you're going from a mid-major. But here's a young man that was so dominating at that level, and we've seen it before. Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Terry Porter, Jack Sikma, all NAIA guys, all of whom one Joe Klein played against.
This is true. I remember seeing Jack Sikma play in the NAIA National Tournament for Illinois Wesleyan in the Kansas City Municipal Auditorium. So that takes you back a little ways. But all those guys have one thing in common. They go at it hard, and that's what Burns does, man. He has got a tremendous motor.
12 points now for Bridges. And they wore belts on the uniforms back then, right?
You know, I mean, when you got a belt on your shorts and your uniform,
yeah,
you're a man.
You're a man. I never knew that they actually wore belts back in the day, Joe.
Cinch up your belts, boys.
You teach
We're
me
going
something
to war.
every time out. Inside Bridges, I tell you what, the battle of the bigs now. We got a number of bigs performing at a high level. That's 14 points for Bridges. Breakfield's got 11.
He's right on cue for what they need. I mean, again, he's a cat that can score the ball in the post, as he's showing.
And that time Burns a little too aggressive. Used that shoulder to clear some space. And the officiating crew says offensive foul on Ole Miss. And that's the second foul on Miles Burns.
Two coaches, two teams that are stressed defense every single day. The rotations, the take the charges, take the hits, contest everything. Hands just not up to the standards that either one of them would like this year. But you know it's being taught, and taught hard every day.
Outside to Oquendo. Probing. Stops. Kick out Ingram on a three. Off the iron. Oquendo offensive rebound. Oquendo banks it home.
Bully ball. I mean, he just looks like he's bullying guys out there. Everybody he plays, he's stronger, quicker to the ball. Very impressive.
12 points for the junior out of Titusville, Florida. Final minute of the half. Rebels on a three to respond. What a game so far for Jamin Brakefield. Brakefield with 14.
Got guys stepping up when they're needed the most.
Oquendo. They crowd him. Oquendo takes it strong. Kick out pass. Extra pass into the corner. 5 to shoot. Holt gonna have to fire it up now. Holt fires up a brick.
Textbook defense on the rotations and the talk by Ole Miss Rebels. That was textbook.
The Rebs up one, will play for the final shot of the half. Fagan with 5. Fagan to Allen inside. No dice, and that is how the half will come to the close with a collision on the baseline.
And not really putting any heat on the Georgia defense. Kermit used a couple timeouts and some substitutions, but he got them settled down, got them playing the way they need to play. Can they continue that in the second half? And can Bridges, who has not been a 40-minute guy, keep the scoring up for Georgia?
And again, no Terry Roberts in this game for the Dogs. In concussion protocol for another game. Strong drive and a foul right off the bat. So 15 seconds in, and a hoop and harm scenario for Justin Hill.
Yeah, again, I mean, a breakdown defensively. They really want to, you know, on this action, they really want to get the guard trapped over there or get him somebody in front of him. Just reached by Morrell, a guy going that hard and that powerful as Hill is. You got to get your body in front. You got to get your feet in front. You got to be willing to take a hit.
Dogs back up by a point. Morrell angles it in down low to Allen. Wheeling, dealing, and back iron. Offensive rebound. Brakefield everywhere tonight. Morrell drives the baseline, Euro step, and draws the foul. That's the extra gear that we know is there with Matthew Morrell. You just want to see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, when he turns that part of his game up, it just takes his whole game to another level because, again, as we've kind of blasted on over and over again, the drive, the attack opens up the three. And the more that he can do that and the more that he can do what he's doing right here, it's all good for Ole Miss because he's going to knock these free throws down. It's going to relax him. It's going to get his team relaxed, and they're going to play at a higher level.
That's the other thing. He's a good free throw shooter at 83%, so when he does get to the line, he cashes in. And I liked your analysis before the game about a player as talented as Morrell. When you've got that ability, you should be going to the free throw line more often.
Absolutely, because athletically, you're just as gifted as anybody on the floor. Your ability to shoot should get people running at you. Take them off the dribble.
Matthew Morrell with his first free throws, giving Ole Miss the lead back, 37-36. Alan Caldwell.
Both teams early on, Mike, really making a conscious effort to get that ball inside, get it to the rim. A little different than the way it started.
Hill. Defenders jumping out at him. Finds Oquendo. Oquendo takes it in the paint, then drops it home.
That's the risk you take when you really come at it hard. You want to take away that first pass out of there if you can, but then it's that hockey assist. The guy gets it, now you're scrambling, and he makes that second pass to a guy like Oquendo. It's over.
It's like when they blitz your favorite quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to make them pay, right?
Absolutely. They'll do the check down to number 87. Get ready for a lot of that on Sunday.
I know. I just want to give you an opportunity to praise your Kansas City Chiefs before the game even happens as Bridges continues his damage in the paint. He has been lethal down there. 16 points now for Bridges.
Mike White's got to be sitting over there going, where has this been all year?
Yeah. Offensive foul. Brakefield just ran right over Braylon Bridges. So Bridges gets the bucket on one end, draws a charge on the other. What you think?
Well, I mean, he was. You can be moving and it still be a charge.
True.
But I don't know. I didn't like it.
It was a less than tacit endorsement from Joe Klein. You might even say he marginally disagrees with the call. Oquendo muscling his way inside. Offensive rebound, Georgia, and the stick back. Braylon Bridges, where has this been? He came in averaging 7 points, 4 rebounds. He's got 18 and 6.
Mike White talked to us today, and he's like, he just kind of was like, got to double both fists and go, man, if we can just get something out of him. Well, he's getting it tonight.
Getting it out of him tonight, that's for sure. Georgia back up by 5. Caldwell on a stop and pop, in and out.
Got to rotate out of that trap.
Holtz drive and kick, and that'll be offensive on the other end. That looked like a pretty solid call, and Robert Allen doing a nice job getting position there.
Again, this guy's gifted, Bridges. I mean, he can go either way, a little step through, up and under. Got good footwork. Shows him the candy. Comes back with the right hand.
You know, in a year last season, which was, let's be honest about it, nightmarish for Georgia, he was certainly a highlight. He led the SEC in field goal percentage at 63%, so he didn't just produce, he was efficient with his production, and he looked like he was a rising star in this league.
No doubt. I mean, I agree on all those points.
And that's going to be a foul. Trying to contest the shot that'll go against Georgia. And it's going to go against Abdur Rahim, his second.
Now we're kind of what we talked about, what we'd like to see in the second half, and we were touching on Ole Miss. They're at that point now. You can't panic. as they didn't in the first half. They changed what they were doing. They started attacking, going inside out. They were able to get back in it.
Another foul on Georgia as Ole Miss keeps crashing on the offensive glass, and McInnis draws that one.
Rebounding was a concern for Coach Mike White today. I mean, he told us that this is a team that can really get after you on the boards, and early on here in the second half, it's happening.
Yeah, what did he say? Defensive rebounding. That is the #1 concern. It's got to be better than what we have done. There's all kinds of rebounding stats out there, rebound margin, and offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. The one that I hear more and more coaches focus on now than ever in the day and age of analytics is rebound percentage. How many of the shots that you have the opportunity to rebound defensively are you actually getting versus allowing the other team's second shots? You agree with that metric?
Absolutely. I mean, it basically saying, are you aggressive? Are you going after it? Are you standing and ball watching? Or are you getting back on defense, or are you getting to the boards? You got to be doing one of them.
Good defense that time by McInnis, giving him quality minutes off the bench. Three ball. Never had a chance. Couldn't get over the rim for Brakefield. Oquendo on the attack. He is so explosive in the open court, and when he's going downhill, tough to stop.
You got to get two guys in front of him.
Yeah.
One guy in front of him is not going to get it done. I mean, you got to get two guys. He's going to put that left shoulder or right shoulder on you, and he's going to get you out of the way.
He's got some springs, that's for sure. Break zone here in Athens. Back to a 5-point game and make it 3 as Brakefield gets the friendly bounce.
I like his aggressiveness. It's been good all night long.
McBride. He was yelling at Abdur-Rahim to go get the basketball on the little handoff. Oquendo takes it strong and draws the foul. Man, does he have some giddy up. Big factor right now. Georgia plus 10 in that category, including 10-2 here in this second half.
Yeah, very even at halftime, but you can kind of see the game plan for Georgia is that they're going to bully the Rebels with Bridges on the post-up, and they're going to bully the guards with Oquendo in the open court or in the flow of the offense with the handoffs. Been very effective so far.
Oquendo gets a much-earned breather. Georgia has a 4-point lead. What does Ole Miss do here? We mentioned Mike White was going to mix up the defenses tonight. We see it here. And it forces a turnover, does it? No, Ole Miss will hold on.
You can't panic. And you can't try to get it all. You don't have a good flow right now. Things aren't going your way. Keep reversing the ball. Keep looking to post up guys. Get people moving. Try to get something going to the rim. Try to get settled down by maybe getting some free throws.
Off the timeout. Boy, a beautifully designed play and a good look for Morrell.
No problem with that. They ran a good set. Had a good shooter open in the corner. Got to knock it down.
Hill on a 3 on the other end. Tap and corralled by McInnis. Here's Fagan, the former Dog. Fagan throws up an alley-oop pass. Beautiful dime drop by Ty Fagan.
We saw in the first half, Fagan came in, and again, it wasn't a stat sheet buster filling it up, but he calmed him down defensively, got him some good things like he just did offensively.
And at times, especially for Ole Miss this year, you think about it, no Deshaun Ruffin the rest of the year. So you're relying on two true freshman guards in Abram and Caldwell, and at times they play like freshmen. So Ty Fagan now becomes a very valuable part of this team.
And you need time to learn.
Yeah.
You got to have time to learn, and the best way to learn is through mistakes, unfortunately, and that's why a lot of times the biggest jump a player makes is from his freshman to his sophomore year, because they know what to expect, they know what's coming, and they know how to handle it.
Bridges working on a 19-point night for Georgia. 19 points, 7 rebounds, for Braylon Bridges in his 5th year, 6'11", 245-pounder out of Atlanta.
After this game, if I'm his coach, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to pat him on the back, but we're going to sit down and go, we got 8 left.
Right.
What do we got left? He goes, what I saw tonight, I want to see it on out.
Let's do some more. Let's hit the rinse, wash, and repeat button.
Amen.
Hanging, firing off the window, almost got it to go. Caldwell did. Just a little too much spin.
Good play, though. You saw his athleticism there.
Hill inside, great feed to Bridges. That was going to go anyway on a goaltend, but as it happens to turn out, ball goes through the net anyway, and Bridges now with 22 points, a new season high for Braylon Bridges.
Great job by Hill handling the heat. He handled the heat, little no-look pass. And then, I mean, I'm going to give it to him, but that had a little bit of look what I found. But when it's your night, it's your night. And it's his night.
It's his night. A season high 22 for Braylon Bridges, who again came in just averaging 7 points a game. Morrell on a step back, tough shot, back iron. And then a steal and a finish. Beautiful play by Miles Burns.
We talked about his motor, man. He never quits. He never stops going. Big basket for the Rebels there.
And a big spot. Georgia had its largest lead. Now it's back to 4. Inside, and a push in the back will spell a trip to the free throw line for Abdur-Rahim. You played against his old man, right?
Yeah.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim,
yeah.
a lottery pick for, at the time, the Vancouver Grizzlies. Went number 3 overall to the Grizz.
Terrific player.
Yeah, he was very good. Plays college ball at Cal. Now looking ahead at the upcoming schedule, number 6, Tennessee. Highlights our college basketball quadruple header on Saturday when they host Kobe Brown at the Zoo. That'll be at Thompson Bowling Arena. Coverage beginning at 6 Eastern time. All right, I think people want to know. Again, I just had them against Auburn. Before that, they lost to Florida. In each game, they just simply struggled to score, Joe. What's going on with Tennessee's offense?
Well, when I look at it, and again, the first thing that steps out to my mind is they make 10 free throws a game in conference.
Right.
And to me, it's big and as talented and as explosive as they are, they've got to get to the free throw line more to help that offense and to help their shooters. Again, I think the free throw line it stops runs, it settles you down offensively, and for a team that if they're going to make a run, I think that they've got to get more points from the free throw line.
Well, because I mean the defense is it's outstanding. It's historically good, right?
Yeah,
but at some point in an NCAA tournament game, and let's be honest, that's where everybody's looking at for Rick Barnes and his Tennessee team this year. How far are you going to go in March? At some point, you're going to have to get into a game where the opponent does score, and you're going to have to be able to get more than 55, 60 points.
That three-point line just dominates the psyche of everything that's being done. And it's really good, but it can kill you.
Oh, Brakefield on an alley-oop pass to Burns. It all started with the lead pass by Fagan.
Look at him get back. He dunks it at one end and almost gets the steal at the other end. Burns has a terrific motor.
And then Fagan left the 3 short. Oquendo finds an open man. Now Georgia's gotten a little happy with the 3.
And that shot, Fagan's played great tonight. But got a little excited there in the emotion of the game, the dunk and everything, and taking a one-pass 3. Not what you want.
Bullet pass down low by Fagan and a 2-hand flush for Akuba.
Run your stuff, man. Keep your poise. They're getting good stuff all night long. Don't settle. Don't take the bait.
Nice pass inside. Georgia responds with a paint touch And another bucket down low for Bridges. 24 points for Braylon Bridges. That'll match his career high. On the drive, into the corner. Fagan will try another three. And that's not Ty Fagan's game, but he's done everything else.
No, more than anything, that Sheboy can really wreck a game. And I think if he kind of wrecks the game, it goes Kentucky's way. If Arkansas can somewhat keep him in check, they got a chance.
Bucket inside. Oquendo, more points in the paint for Georgia. He's got 19. I got to just add one thing to the Kentucky side of the ledger. I continue to be impressed by Cason Wallace. Another SEC Freshman of the Week award. Not just a lockdown defender, but now the offense is really coming around.
Poise.
Yeah.
I mean, his poise as a freshman just has been, his smarts and poise, and he takes the right shot, makes the right pass, and just is a great defender defensively.
Good action that time for Ole Miss, leads to an easy bucket for Brakefield. Boy, this is a Joe Klein masterpiece. All these points in the paint, and two more there for Georgia and Justin Hill.
It's the way the game needs to be played, Mike.
Forget that three-point line.
They need to get rid of that thing that goes around the key, whatever that is.
Big men getting paint touches, guys taking it to the rack.
Finally.
Feels like we're back in the 1980s.
Hike up them shorts a little bit, get the socks a little higher.
Right.
Everybody get a belt. We can roll.
An and one for Miles Burns. You lost me on the belt part, but I'm with you everywhere else. Miles Burns, a chance for three more.
Boy, I like this kid's energy. I mean, he was really touted. I hadn't really had this chance to see Ole Miss. This is the first time I've seen him in person. And just love his motor. I mean, he has got a terrific motor.
Well, I mean, you could make the case, much like where has this been every game from Braylon Bridges, they'd like to see more consistency out of Burns as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a coming out party for some guys. I mean, it's, Bridges is really carrying the load, and then Burns has just been at both ends with his hustle, and then sprinkling a little Brakefield.
Yeah.
He's kind of stepped it up again tonight too.
They're all playing well above their season averages tonight, and to your point, when they got Miles Burns, that was a huge pickup out of the transfer portal, and they expected him to be a high impact player, and he's been that tonight. 15 points and 5 rebounds.
He's playing within himself. I mean, he's taking good shots, he's guarding, and he's letting the game come to him, and I think he's not trying to force the action, and his hustle and his athletic ability is taking over.
Hill spins, kicks it out. This is Holt. Holt, the transfer from Alabama, draws the foul. So much action at and around the rim in this second half.
Well, and that time Holt and even McBride, they did a nice job of getting in there, and they didn't have anything, but they kept their feet under them. They were balanced, and they were able to make a pass or make a step-through shot like Holt just did and get fouled. So, again, they're not just going in there and jumping in the air. And as my good friend Jimmy Dykes says, hoping it goes in. Hope's not a good
strategy.
Not a good strategy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. And that's the thing too. It's there's an expression you hear on the playground, know your personnel. Sometimes you have to know yourself. If you're not a great three-point shooter, don't be enticed to keep taking three-point shots. And a lot of players in today's game, uber athletic, but are just not great shooters, so do what you do well.
You want to coach, if you're not a three-point shooter and you want a coach to let you shoot some threes, get some rebounds, be a lockdown defender, don't turn the ball over, be talking on defense, and he'll live with you missing a couple. But if you don't get him anything at one end and turnover prone, first three-point shot you miss, you're going to meet yourself on the way out. He's going to sub for you so quickly.
Now that three came against the zone. Ole Miss trying to find a crease.
It's amazing. Mike, you and I were talking about it last night. you'll see somebody go to a zone, and you'll see these teams go,
oh my goodness, now what?
It's an alien.
Yeah.
It's from Mars. I mean, it amazes me.
Bridges career high 26, and that's a 10-second violation on Ole Miss. How about the suffocating defense from Georgia? Again, Mike White said he would heat it up at times, would mix up the defense, and it works on those last two possessions.
Man, you gotta get the ball in and have a little more urgency at the beginning of the clock. Don't dribble into nothing or throw the ball away in a panic, but just very casual for 4 or 5 seconds, and all of a sudden you mishandle the ball, and it's over.
Seventh turnover on Ole Miss. Georgia up by 4, looking to add to it here as we approach the 8-minute mark of this ball game. Hill, rise and fire. Back iron. Bridges slithering in on the rebound. Backs in and has that rejected. Terrific.
Guess who?
Yep.
Burns.
Burns again. Now Burns on the offensive end. When does Matthew Morrell make a play? He's been quiet. Morrell just 5 points, 1 for 8 from the field.
I think it's coming if they keep doing what they're doing. And he'll find something.
Well, that was the shot by Morrell, but a degree of difficulty. A fade and fire misses.
I think it would be big for Ole Miss if they could get some stops right now and get out and run and get a couple easy ones to kind of calm them down, because both these teams are going to start struggling because you're playing against two good half-court disciplined teams that are well coached. It's going to be hard to have an effective offense playing against a set defense down the stretch.
Good defense there by Ole Miss, forcing Oquendo into a late shot clock 3.
Who can get something easy? Couple 2-3 buckets off a breakdown or off a transition could be the difference.
Is off Georgia out of bounds, and that will bring us to a media timeout with 6:46 to go at Segment Coliseum. Their conference win. Brakefield and Bridges battle of the bigs. Both have been outstanding so far tonight.
Just both these guys really stepping it up to another level. Especially Bridges has been very dominant, block to block, offensive rebounding. And Brakefield's really showing an ability to drive and finish.
And that's exactly what he did right on cue there.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, that was good. You guys planned that out of the
I looked at
timeout.
him, and he told me what was coming.
Oquendo, no. Bridges, another rebound. That's his 11th.
Speaking of what's coming, Oquendo's coming.
Oquendo is coming, and when he does, there's either going to be a slam, a collision, maybe a strong layup about the most finesse thing that's going to happen. By the way, Brakefield now with a career-high 20 points. So Brakefield has 20. Bridges has 26. Burns has 15. And Oquendo with 19.
Been a very well-played game offensively.
Yeah, it has.
I think we were really kind of expecting a rock fight. At times it has been that,
right.
But there's been some really nice shot making and passing.
Even that's a good look, just not a make for Oquendo.
I think another key down the stretch, Mike, we talked about who could get some easy points, get some transition, get stuff in the paint, but who's going to take the bait? Who's going to shoot the quick three, the ill-advised three when they don't really need to?
17 now for Burns on a great move down low. We are back at a tie ball game. 60, all under 6 to play, and a steal for the Rebels. Allen on the breakout. Oquendo! Top floor on the swat. Follow is off the mark. And a foul. And there was definitely some contact. We've got an Ole Miss player down on his back under the basket. You could see Oquendo ball hawking and trailing that play, just ready to get a trail block, and that's what he did.
Just a lazy pass, but again, you have to admire the no quit in Oquendo to take away that easy two that is so valuable late in a game, a highly contested game. You gotta like Burns. I mean, he stuck with the play too. I mean, you got two really big-time guards that are playing at a high level tonight with high motors and transition on the offensive glass. I mean, they are doing a little bit of everything.
We have had 4 players in this game, 2 from each side, just completely show out tonight. Burns with 18, Brakefield with 20, Oquendo with 19, and Bridges with a career night, 26 points, 11 rebounds for Georgia. Too strong on the second. Five and change to go. We've had 11 ties. We've had 13 lead changes in this game. Hill up top, going to work against Fagan. Crossover and bump foul on Ty Fagan.
Georgia's really had a good success with this dribble handoff action that they've done with their guards. They've been able to get Oquendo a couple times on the handoff to turn the corner, look for him in a minute to reject the handoff and go back door. But when they don't get that action, I mean, they're getting Hill, they're getting McBride, they're getting their guards able to get going downhill and really causing problems, foul problems for Ole Miss.
That is the 8th team foul, and that's a 1-and-1 for Justin Hill. And Hill missed the free throw. So an empty trip for Georgia. Rebels up by 1 with the basketball coming up on the 5-minute mark of this game. Morrell off the handoff. Brakefield back up top to Morrell with 9 on the shot clock. Morrell, rise and fire. That's the look you want, and that's a shot that ordinarily Morrell makes.
Great action by Ole Miss. Just got to finish it.
1-point game. From the corner, a 3. Off the mark, and there to rebound it is Brakefield. 20-7 now for Brakefield. Inside, paint touch Ole Miss. It's Allen, finds the cutter, reverse layup, no. Ingram boards it for Georgia. Hill in traffic, blocked, but a foul on Fagan. Now 2 free throws coming up for the Bulldogs, down by a point.
Again, transition, you can't finish down here, but again, not having to play against that tough half-court defense of Ole Miss, being able to get out in the run, get in some space. McBride doing a good job of keeping his dribble and getting in there and going strong into the bodies of Ole Miss and drawing the foul.
Back to a tie ball game for the 12th time tonight. Our Thursday night women's basketball doubleheader starts in Gainesville with KK Deans in Florida hosting Jessica Carter and Mississippi State at 7. Then it's off to Memorial Gym in Nashville. Aaron Barnum in Arkansas taking on Kaija Harbison and Vanderbilt. Should be another great night of action right here on the SEC Network. Georgia back in front, 62-61.
Again, here's the press. Are they going to drop back into a zone or drop back into man-to-man? Coach White said they were going to do both. Looks like they dropped back to a 2-3 zone.
How do you want to see Ole Miss dissect it?
You got to get to the free throw line. You got to get to the short corners. You got to get some penetration in the zone. Somehow get it into the creases and play from there.
There's the short corner, and there's the jumper by Brakefield, who's been terrific tonight.
And Georgia, you can't run and jump at that shot. You got the zone. You're playing a zone to do what? Keep them in front of you. You had a break down there. Brakefield makes a nice little mid-range jumper.
Inside. And Moncrief will draw the foul, and we will take a timeout here. 26 points, 11 rebounds, a career night for Braylon Bridges. So with 3:26 to go, you get the feeling those two guys are going to factor heavily in who wins this ball game.
Yeah, and I think you sprinkle in, Burns, Oquendo in the open floor. Can they get something going at the bucket as well? And then when all this stuff is going at the bucket and you start drawing the help, who's going to knock it down? Who's going to be the guy that gets the rhythm, wide open, step in three that might be the difference in this game?
13th tie of the night to go along with 15 lead changes. Inside, and a foul drawn by Burns.
Boy, I like it. I mean, they went right to him in the post.
Yes, they did.
I mean, that's just a great job by Kermit coming out of the timeout saying, hey, little cross screen action. And again, when you catch the ball that deep and you're playing behind him, it's over. Nothing good's going to happen to him defensively.
You know what you really love and appreciate about a game like this? I mean, these are not two of the most talented teams in the league. You've got a new coaching regime in Athens that usually spells a little bit of a rebuild, although Mike White is way ahead of schedule. And you've got an Ole Miss team led by Kermit Davis that has struggled, has had injuries, has lost close games. They've been a beleaguered group. But you appreciate when you watch these coaches work just how good the coaching is between these two. They've been outstanding tonight.
They have not let their teams get away from them.
Right.
They have kept them focused, kept them playing hard. And I cannot tell you, having been on bad teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get 10, 12 guys going in 10, 12 different directions. These two coaches got everybody on the same page.
Yeah, nobody has mailed it in, that is for sure. Neither one of these coaches will tolerate that. If you're going to play, you're going to give maximum effort.
Accountability.
Baseline drive. Beautiful finish. Matthew Burrell.
There it is, Mike.
We've been waiting on it.
And again, he didn't settle. He's not really stroking it from three, although he has a great shot from three. He doesn't take it. The guy's closing out on him, and then he goes strong to the basket. What a finish by Morrell. And again, you don't have to get a guy up in the air, Mike. You don't have to get a guy jumping to the ceiling. All you got to do is what you saw Holt do. Get that little lean forward, and bye-bye.
Yep. You see the play like that, and you and I talked about it from the top. There should be more of those type of plays for Matthew Morrell.
At the rim and at the free throw line.
Correct. Does miss the free throw. It is a two-possession game, though. 67-63. Let's see where Georgia turns for offense. Hill gliding to the rim and banks it high off the window.
We were talking what a game he's having.
Yes, 6 assists. Both these coaches are so hungry and so eager to pick up the win here tonight.
Well, you want your guys to get rewarded. I mean, both these coaches talk about how good their guys have been, how hard they're working, how good their attitudes are. You want them to get rewarded with a win.
Full court pressure. Georgia heats it up. Morrell breaks the timeline, whips it, and finds the cutting Brakefield. Beautiful press break by Ole Miss.
Great job getting the ball out of the corner, getting it to the middle of the floor to Morrell. Brakefield running. Great pass by Morrell. A good, strong finish.
Well, that was textbook. Let's see if Georgia has a response. Hill weaving, firing, gets it to crawl over the front of the iron.
And Mike, how big is he?
He's been terrific down the stretch now, 10 points.
And he's scoring, he's 5'10" tops.
Yeah.
And he is getting in there among the trees and really finishing some nice, strong shots at the rim.
Fagan on the drive. Fagan flips it off the window with a kiss. Timeout. One day maybe we'll go fishing with Larry Bird. That's going to take precedent over babies and puppies. I'm sorry.
One hand you got God, family, and country. The other hand you got Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
It's Larry Bird every time.
He is the legend. What can you say? All right, Georgia needs a bucket here. Where are we looking?
We'll look for him to try to get downhill, and you see the trap right here. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands, make somebody else make a play. They're going to attack.
Ole Miss Great defense, but a better response. Justin Hill again leading the way for Georgia down the stretch.
And again, his ability to time and time again to get in there at his size. I mean, and we talk about Aquindo's strength and his shoulders. Hill's got a little bit that too. He's a broad, strong young man who can really get that shoulder on you, and then he's clever with how he finishes. He's made really big plays to keep Georgia close.
Mother Donna was a star player at Virginia. Father Keith, great player at New Mexico State. Great bloodlines for Justin Hill, who helped Longwood to their first ever NCAA tournament bid last year.
Now can Georgia do a better job on the back end of this press?
Timeout Ole Miss with 50 seconds to go.
You know, get Hill, get these guys going downhill. You got McBride out there now, who's probably the best three-point shooter on the team. In transition, can they find something? But they come out in a 1-3-1 zone.
There it is. The zone is there. And Kermit immediately says, let's talk.
Now, what are they going to do different defensively? Are they going to do something different with their pick-and-roll coverage, or they're just going to go straight up?
Now Georgia's out in the man-to-man. Shot clock down to 3. Brakefield. Rims off. Offensive rebound, Allen. And now Ole Miss wisely pulls back. No need to rush a shot. Almost a steal by Hill. And then a reach-in foul.
What a rebound. What a rebound by Allen. I mean, great job defensively by Georgia, but somebody's got to make a play. And again, not the shot you want, but you have to take it. Just who wants it more? Who wants it more? And Allen won the battle there.
Double bonus the rest of the way. Morrell, one of the top free throw shooters in the league, 83%, will toe the line for a pair. Nothing but nylon on the first.
Both teams with a timeout. See Bridges coming back in. Aquino, big free throw here, because if you can keep Georgia, if you make this and you're up 3, you don't give up a quick 2 to drive. Right. Now you put them in a precarious position of having to play for the 3.
He missed the second, tapped up, and Morrell corrals it. He missed the free throw and then gets the rebound. Georgia has no choice but to foul again with 16 on the clock.
Credit to the bigs of Ole Miss. Got to have it. You know, in this kind of situation, the referee's going to let you play.
Right.
And I mean, if you're the inside guy on that free throw line, you gotta root those guys out of there, and you gotta be an offensive lineman pulling and laying somebody out. But again, they didn't get him out. The ball came off perfectly. I'll give him that.
Long rebound, but just a great job of keeping it alive. Friendly bounce on that. Let's take another look and see how Morrell gets this. Who tapped it out? Was it Allen?
And again, Brakefield gets in there, but I can't. I thought it was worse than that. Bridges did a good job.
He was boxed out.
He did a good job. The ball just came off long.
He 2 free throws off the front rim, shooter's bounce, and now it's a 2-possession game.
That's what you call soft touch.
Yes, feathery. All right, Georgia needs not 1 but 2 baskets. Hill slides, and then he is okay, Georgia ball. I thought maybe for a second they were calling a foul, and now we're going to have a review.
Now are they reviewing? Kermit is wanting to, can't let anybody get loose behind you, but you got to gamble.
And a steal by Hill. And it'll be Georgia ball with 8.6. Justin Hill has been outstanding.
It looked like Fagan had the ball and just didn't secure it. It looked like he was a little loose with it instead of just grabbing it with 2 hands and taking the foul. and McBride was able to knock it off his leg.
Comes inside, easy basket, and the foul.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Back-to-back crucial errors by Ole Miss. Moncrief with an and-one opportunity and a chance to make it a one-point game.
I can't. Now you just on a baseline out of bounds play, Mike.
Right.
The cardinal rule, the number one thing that you learn in junior high is that the ball's got to go out to the perimeter, long, wide, whatever. If you got to switch it, communicate, whatever you got to do, the ball can't go to Moncrief for a layup with 7 seconds left. Big mistake by Ole Miss. Can they finish? Can they finish? It's been the
game, 7.5 to play. Each team, or rather Georgia, has one timeout. And they'll get a quick foul, and it'll be against Morrell. That's who you want to have at the free throw line if you're Ole Miss.
And what that three-point play has done, which is obvious, but even if he makes these, you can get a one-shot situation or one-shot scenario for three to get it to overtime. You know, if the worst-case scenario for Georgia is he makes two, you still have almost 6 seconds to try to get a three. And so, again, the baseline out of bounds for the three-point play is just a crucial error. Ball handler one time.
Right.
Don't let him go straight downhill. If you can get him turned, when he turns, foul him.
Now all that would be a moot point if Morrell doesn't hit the second. Money on the first. Morrell now 6 of 8 from the free throw line tonight. 11 points, 6 rebounds for the junior out of Memphis, Tennessee. 8 of those points coming in the second.
Watch McBride, and Hill. Watch McBride pulling up. He's been driving.
He rattles the second one.
He's been making plays all night.
Does Ole Miss foul? Timeout Georgia, and we send it back to studio.
All right, guys, just checking back in again. Remember,
down low.
I might get something off my chest real quick.
Absolutely.
This is where I wish, if you called timeout, you could advance.
I was just thinking the same thing. We have it in the women's game. You know, it's been in the NBA game forever. We have it in the women's game now. We still do not have it in the men's game, and I'm with you, by the way. I think that would add a level of excitement for these situations. Second free throw, missed it on purpose. Ole Miss boxed out well, and Morrell, of all people, will get to go to the free throw line. That's Ole Miss's #1 free throw shooter, and he can ice it here if he hits 2 free throws with 2.2 remaining.
Again, just hats off to these teams. I mean, they're just so easy. They've lost 5 out of 6 at Georgia. Ole Miss has lost 5 in a row and 9 out of 10. And to show the fight, just that's good culture, good coaching.
Morrell is finding his stroke now.
And credit to the players.
Well, no doubt, and we mentioned this before. There are teams, when you hit a stretch the way these two teams have, sometimes you're not getting max effort. And I think now more than ever for these coaches in this day and age, it's harder to keep everybody's attention and buy-in. There's been no lack of buy-in for any of these players, either one of these teams, and that's a credit to the coaches. This would ice it for Ole Miss. And Morrell does just that. 9 of 11 from the line in the second half. And Morrell gets the steal. Why not? Matthew Morrell comes up big down the stretch. Brakefield and Burns, terrific.